In 1955, against the simmering backdrop of the Cold War, the Eisenhower administration made a major announcement. The United States was preparing to launch a series of artificial satellites as part of the International Geophysical Year. At the time, major research projects were managed as a closed ecosystem. The National Academy of Sciences oversaw these programs through a hierarchy of elite professionals and tight-lipped administrators. This strict gatekeeping meant that the most ambitious scientific endeavor of the century was designed without any clear role for the public. But the program faced a critical logistical flaw. If a satellite's radio transmitter failed in orbit, the ground crews would be entirely blind. Visually locating a tiny, fast-moving sphere in the vast atmosphere was a terrifying technical challenge. In fact, program scientists compared the difficulty of this task to spotting a golf ball tossed out of a moving jet plane. In October 1955, an engineer and expert tinkerer named Claire L. Strong wrote to the program's leadership. He suggested utilizing a fine-grained network of amateur scientists and hobbyists to solve the tracking problem. The elite IGY administrators rejected the idea. They viewed hobbyists as quarrelsome tinkerers who were incapable of following rigorous scientific methodology. While the program spent millions on engineering, its leaders were hesitant to rely on the common citizen to fix its most fatal weakness. Fred Whipple, the ambitious new director of the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, saw a bureaucratic opportunity in this crisis. When he took over the observatory in 1955, it was a moribund institution with a small staff and an obscure research program. Whipple formally championed the amateurs, officially proposing a program called Moonwatch to be managed under his observatory. This masterstroke secured massive government funding for the SAO. By promising a global citizen-led network, Whipple grew his institution's budget from roughly $70,000 to over $3 million in just a few years. This wide net brought together a diverse demographic. The volunteers ranged from highly trained engineers to volunteer aircraft spotters from the Ground Observer Corps. Whipple used this democratized data collection as the primary means to expand the observatory staff and its global research footprint. The Moonwatch program functioned as a coordinated data processing network, linking thousands of backyard observers to professional laboratories. In the first stage, the amateur wide net spotted the satellite and calculated its rough trajectory. They transmitted these initial findings back to the central hub in Cambridge. Professionals at the observatory then crunched this raw amateur data to create ephemerides, highly precise orbital predictions. These predictions told the massive, state-of-the-art Baker-Nunn cameras exactly where to point their lenses to capture a photograph. The relationship was a closed loop. These expensive professional cameras were dependent on the backyard hobbyists to tell them where to look. On October 4, 1957, the world was shocked by the launch of Sputnik 1. The space race had suddenly begun, and the United States was caught off guard. The untested, citizen-led Moonwatch network was thrust into its first high-stakes real-world trial. The amateurs were successful. They tracked the Soviet satellite, calculated its orbit, and monitored its decay with the same precision expected of professional scientists. The SAO headquarters integrated this citizen data into vital intelligence, providing the global scientific community with its first accurate picture of an object in orbit. The first successful tracking of the space age was achieved through the reliability of everyday citizens, not elite classified engineering. In the years following Sputnik, the SAO expanded from a staff of just a few dozen to become the world's largest astronomical institution. Moonwatch remained active for nearly 2 decades, finally closing its operations in 1975. Upon his retirement, Fred Whipple sent a final letter to his amateur network. They said it couldn't be done. They said it couldn't work. He gloated over the elite administrators who originally claimed amateurs were useless. As he put it, they were dead wrong. The Moonwatch project validated citizen science as a research model, proving that ordinary people can contribute to professional, cutting-edge research. The dawn of the space age did more than just break the boundary of the atmosphere. It erased the boundary between the professional and the amateur, proving the sky belongs to anyone willing to look up.